Hey friends, some days we just want to put our heads in the clouds, just off up high in the distance. And today is one of those days because we are going to paint cloudscapes together. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm Alain Picard and I am thrilled to be here with you. Loose, expressive clouds. I really love painting cloudscapes. A low horizon, lots of sky, and letting those clouds kind of move up the horizon and just break out and break free. That's what today's going to be all about, is breaking free. So as those clouds rise and they break up into those higher levels, those higher atmospheric levels, we're going to break free in our expressive art. Does that sound good? I hope you are as excited as I am to be here. I'm thrilled that you would join with me. We're going to be using soft pastels for this demonstration, and I'm going to bring you right up to the easel. We can talk a little bit about the scene and my approach, and we will get right to it, okay? So let's check it out. Okay, so I've picked this really lovely scene. It's a kind of afternoon scene from a country pasture land in Germany, just a really beautiful scene there. And the clouds are just moving up the horizon really beautifully. And I just love the way that it's kind of dense and soft at the horizon, but as you go up higher, it gets really crisp and clean. So we're gonna check that out. I did a little thumbnail, and as I did, I was just exploring how there's sharp edges and strong contrast way up high at the top, very soft edges, and very quiet in the middle, in the lower third of the horizon. Soft atmospheric, almost no real hard edges. And then we've got, just a little, we're going to keep it pretty almost abstract or expressive in the land masses. So how are we going to start today? Well, I've got my sanded board. This is a nice UART 400 sanded board. It's an 8x8. And we're going to do an underpainting wash to put some color down. This is phase one in getting expressive. So looking down at the palette, I've got a little jar that says 90% isopropyl alcohol, pharmacy, rubbing alcohol, and then some brushes here. But look at these beautiful pinks. I think these pinks would be gorgeous in the sky. I like this lavender. I think they would be gorgeous under the land. And so I'm just going to pick those beauties up right there and then come right up to this board and just begin to lay. I'm not going to draw yet. I'm just going to lay this down so that I can wash over it. And as I do, I think this might even be the same color, probably the same color. And just bring that down to the lower area. I want enough that it's a nice rich, and then I'm going to put violet right through here. Now this red violet, really, it's a kind of nice punchy lavender. We'll just kind of create a gradation between the two so that it just fades. I'm going to get a nice big brush, nice big square. These are just these golden Taclon synthetics. And I'm going to dip it into the alcohol, and we're going to go for it here, friends. We're just going to lay this down. I love these expressive colors because it puts us into the mode of having fun and relating to something exciting with our color. And I just, the local color of this scene is beautiful. The blue sky, the green grass, but putting some pinks and violets down gives me a lot of inspiration to do some color contrast, some exciting color relationships. And I'm using this 90% alcohol because it's going to dry really fast. It's 90% has very little water in it. So it really will dry fast. And it's all about just kind of creating this nice, something to work on top of. I actually want more of that pink right up top. Sometimes the alcohol will wash it away. So just a tiny bit more, and there we go. And what happens with these washes as well, if you haven't used them, many of you I know have, is that while they're wet, they look kind of darker, and then as they dry, they get lighter. Okay, I'm gonna leave that right there, get all this out of the way. And as that's drying, I'm just going to let that dry for a moment because, These expressive color fades are so fun. Now we can kind of move from here, hot pink, lavender, into new expressive territory. We can let that influence what happens with our next layers. Maybe this is exciting to you and you would love to see more of this kind of technique, this kind of loosening up. Well, what I'd love to do is invite you to Landscape Week, because during Landscape Week, we're gonna do 3 live lessons together, 3 unique, expressive, loose landscapes together across the week. It's September 8th through 12th. So if you haven't heard yet, I want you to check out Landscape Week. You can head over to landscapeweek.com to check it out and to learn lots more about what we'll be doing. There'll be some bold mark making that we learn. There'll be some expressive color like what we're doing now. There'll be some dramatic contrast that we'll use as well. And that's gonna be really great. So landscapeweek.com, you can check it all out and you can save your seat. So you are formally invited. And if you've already saved your seat, you've already signed up, I'm so excited to see you there. We're gonna have lots of fun. It's gonna be really, really great. Okay, so my underpainting is already dry. So I'm gonna get right back in here and we'll work on it together. So here we are at the easel and it's nice and dry. And what I'm gonna do now, I've got this nice pink moving down into the violets. Now, why would I do that, right? I think that, you know, the red violets and the violets will look really nice with the green, and I'm not gonna go really heavy green. So what I'm gonna do is take this little hard pastel and sketch with it. And we're gonna lay some of this landmass in, just get a sense. This is all about the clouds, this scene, but it's nice to have a bit of landmass just to relate to. So I'll be doing that. So I'm looking at those kind of there's like a foreground layer, a middle ground, and a background layer, and I'm just indicating them briefly here. You know that view that you have when you're driving down the road or on a highway and you look out the window to the right and you just kind of see the beautiful country fields whizzing by? That's what I'm gonna kind of create here. I don't want the landscape itself to be very in focus. I'm just gonna create that kind of expressive look. Now I'm gonna lay out just my top layers of where these clouds go, and that's it. We'll just start painting these expressive, beautiful clouds. Landscape Week is gonna be so much fun because we'll take different loosening up exercises and paint those 3 different landscapes together so that we can kind of explore kind of different view of what brings expression, what brings looseness to our work. So I see that cloud layer there. I see this cloud layer here. I don't need much more. I think that's pretty good. I'm just pushing a little more of my shapes in here. I feel pretty good about that. Okay, so this is one of those paintings where it's a small cloudscape. I don't need a lot of drawing. We're gonna dive right in here, and I'll start probably anchoring some color in the land. So looking down at my palette, I'm gonna use some grayed down greens, some kind of greenish grays, and then some warmer ones, cooler bluish greens, and then warmer, lighter kind of greens that'll come forward toward me. And then of course for the trees, I'm gonna use some darker shades of probably blue-green. We'll see how that goes. Maybe we'll neutralize it a little as well. So I'm keeping it simple down here. It's not about the land. I just want something to support this cloudscape, just something to kind of anchor it. Actually going to use another warmer dark green here, and I'm just using the edge, the side of the pastel stick to lay some down. I'll teach you more about mark making during Landscape Week so that you can get a better sense of what to mark where. You know, should I do the sides, the linear? Which direction should I make? We'll talk about that on the first lesson of Landscape Week. Okay, I'm gonna bring in some warm green into the foreground, just kind of bring that that in. And I think I'll cool it down a little as well with a bluish blue-green, beautiful blue-green here. Look at that, wonderful. I love these expressive color moves. You know, once I've got pink and lavender down, I've got a permission slip to really play with the color relationships. I don't need to stay true to the local color entirely. I can use temperature changes to get a lot of impact here. And already I'm starting to feel that landscape whizzing by through the window. Let's try this really nice neutral, kind of neutral grayish green. I love this color. It's not particularly strong, you know, it's very neutral. And I like that about it. Sometimes when it comes to the green family, I pick my moments for chroma. I don't want big, bold green everywhere. Little sky hole here and there. Perhaps we'll have a little bit more warmth and light at the top of this hill. And this little farmland tapestry. Nice linear stroke, just let it wisp underneath the clouds. I'm imagining, you know, my motive for this scene is like all about these powerful clouds billowing up into the high sky. So, in light of that, I want to make sure that I keep the focus on them. I'm keeping this pretty loose down here. Almost there. I'm just looking. You'll notice too, as I'm working, I'm not really blending the land much. I'm just kind of cleaning my hands for the moment. I'm just kind of letting it, letting that pink and lavender just push through and interact with the color. I think it's really pretty. A little more color over here on the right. A little more warm green. Maybe those further away, we've got a cooler feel. Squinting my eyes, yeah, I think I'll add like a bit of blue to the tree line up top, just for fun, just to cool it and keep it back. And if these kinds of things, like why does Alan keep saying cooling it and warming it? You know, during Landscape Week, I'll talk on the second lesson, lesson 2, about some of the exciting ways you can use color to express yourself and create contrast, and use color temperature changes as one of those ways. I'm excited to share that with you. Okay, so I've got enough. I'm pretty good. I actually think maybe just a little more of this foreground, a little more of this pink covered. We've got a land, look at this, it's almost like this green pasture land and then this pink crazy sky. Okay, we'll go from there. I think what would be great next is to deal with this lower horizon and kind of that hazy area. So let's do that a little. I'm looking at sort of neutral colors, maybe some muted colors, not very strong, just quiet. Lots of things in similar categories. I'm going to use this lavender. I think it's probably too light. Let's go a little deeper than that. Okay. Okay, so I've got this lavender, and the low horizon is not the lightest area, so be careful about that when we're working. I'm going to squint my eyes and notice, yeah, that lower horizon is not nearly as light as the light hitting those clouds up high, so I don't want to suddenly create too much contrast by lightening the low horizon. I'm just going to scribble in some soft pastel over this lavender. Let it peek through. I've got a blue-gray, and I'm just going to sparkle a little bit of that here and there. It's all about layering with soft pastel. We get these broken colored layers are so pretty, and it's such a wonderful medium for expressing ourselves that way. Letting those marks just lay one over the next so we can create some exciting visual impact. You can see now that sky starting to build up at the low horizon. I've got kind of a greenish gray here. It's muddy almost, and I'm gonna bring that back. That harmonizes with the land. It's interesting, I like it. Yeah, there's lots of this kind of soupy, hazy, thick cloud over cloud in the low horizon, and this gives me some of that. Here we go. Now moving up, we're gonna get into an exciting area where actually I can get right up here with some strong color. As we go up in the dome of the sky, we get really deep, rich blues. This painting is keyed towards, I've got those pinks, so I love the green side of blue. I'm gonna use turquoise, because turquoise makes me happy. Therefore, it belongs in my paintings. And you know, think about that. If it makes you happy, use it in your painting. Obviously, yeah, I'm always looking for an opportunity for turquoise, for violets. I just love violets. Colors that give me, you know, joy. And you'll notice I'm kind of working my way around this main cloud formation, which is so important. That's kind of my main character. He's trying to break out, break up and break out that cloud, which is wonderful. Come right up here. Now, this isn't a terribly dark turquoise, but it already gives us some contrast. I like the idea that this painting is kind of soft and airy, and it's not overly heavy. This will be the darkest value. I'll punch it a little bit more, probably get a slightly darker with it. I'm just playing around, and I love seeing those little crackles of pink coming through the turquoise. Wow, that's so pretty. Okay, what else do we want to do here? I'm going to come up with another turquoise, just another really strong, beautiful turquoise. This is, oh, so pretty. It's from my Picard landscape set that I designed with Terry Ludwig. And there's a certain, it's so resonant. The vibration of this turquoise is so beautiful. It's a gorgeous color. A little lighter than the one above it. A little bluer, probably. Keep squinting those eyes. You know, value creates contrast. And we're moving down towards the soup here. And I'm gonna switch over to, you know, this lavender and just kind of layer over the turquoise as we go up, because we're kind of punching through that atmospheric layer into the higher sky where there's crisper, cleaner air. That's what we're after. I'm already having a lot of fun here developing my sky. I'm putting my pastels down for a moment because I've filled my hands with all these beautiful things. And I need to clean up those hands for a moment so that I can go into the next phase. There we go. And I'm just gonna take a quick break and say hi, because it's so good. Actually, this is an important aspect of painting, is to look away from your work and make sure that you don't kind of burrow in or bear down on your painting, get too close to it. That's how we get lost in the details, right? Like, we get stuck in the details when we get up too close to our work. We kind of get all the way up there and we get so close that we see more than we should. And our ability to build the big relationships is compromised when we do that. So stepping back is so important. I want to help you with these kind of techniques and hacks as we go through Landscape Week as well, and we just enjoy the playful and fun side of painting. I don't know about you, but sometimes I get a little heavy-handed, a little heavy-hearted even about my work. I get perfectionistic once in a while. I think too much about a finished painting and a great product, and that can get me a little stuck. And so having an opportunity to kind of throw caution to the wind, to play, to try new things, to take new risks, to go on an adventure, that's what Landscape Week's gonna be all about. And we're just gonna have fun over those 3 live lessons, 3 different exercises, really fun stuff where you can just be an adventurer. And yes, paint 3 small paintings by the end of the week, but yes, try some new approaches to mark making, to color, to dramatic contrast that I think will be very exciting for you. landscapeweek.com. You can check it out. Now, I've been looking at you and not at my painting, which is a good thing because we get to spend this time together. But I'm excited now as I go back, I'm going to begin to build up these clouds, and being able to now come fresh and look with fresh eyes is so powerful. It's really, really effective for us as we work. So we've got these pink things sitting in the painting. Let's deal with that. And well, you know, I think we'll build up towards them, get a little bit of that soupy mess. And I'm thinking that some pinks will be great. So more pink, but not as bright. But I do love the idea that we've got some pink in here. I'm finding sort of neutral things as well as stronger color. So I'm coming up with some neutrality here, some neutral kind of, it's a neutral color. It's a mauve, really, which is a neutralized or a grayed down red-violet. And clouds are opaque, right? I mean, we can't see through them unless we just see a little vapor against the edge. We can sometimes see through that. And so we have this kind of opacity to the clouds and a neutralizing effect. Whereas the sky is very crisp, it's very clear, and we see that very clearly. And that distinction is important as we build our colors. So this kind of like soupy color, like very muted, very neutralized, it really helps us understand that's the cloud. Now, another thing that can happen in these cloudscapes is we look at sort of shadow areas of the cloud and we think, right, oh, that's the underside, that's the shadow side, let's go really dark. You're not, if you squint your eyes, you're not going to see anything really dark in there. I mean, you will still see some subtle shifts, but they're subtle. And they should not be anywhere near as dark as what's happening down on the bottom. So here's a blue violet, okay? And it's still quite neutralized, quite grayed down, but it's a nice value in that it gives us a little bit darker than the cloud, but not too dark. A little darker than the sky, but not too dark. We can continue to build up these color relationships with one another. I hope you have fun with this as you observe the way that the color relationships and value relationships are very close. You can layer different colors. I mean, the Impressionists understood this. You can layer different colors over each other without blending and create kind of a visual representation of another color, right? That broken color impact is so beautiful. So we're starting to get some nice layers there, and you're seeing some almost soupy, messy middle area, which is great. And now we'll come up a little higher, and I'll start moving into these stronger pinks. Whoa, that's this is almost Florida. It's quite, quite pink. What do I mean, Florida? Turquoise and pink. I think of it when I see those colors. Maybe tropical. It's a tropical palette. That's another way to say it, right? Look at that, expressive color, so pretty, so fun. I'm coming in and I'm going lighter now. I'm building up towards that light mass. And what you'll notice about clouds, the lower side is very soft edge. We don't see those hard edges. And then these billows create these crisp, strong, sharper edges at the top. And we have not gone to the lightest light yet. I will go lighter. I don't know whether I'll ever use anything like white. You could, because it is a cloud, but you remember, white is kind of all the colors perfectly equal, right? So, I mean, when we see white in a shirt or a cloud or a dress or a tablecloth, it could be reflecting all kinds of beautiful colors within that white. And that is one of the joys of painting, is our permission to bring this beautiful color into the story of life, the story that we see. Because I don't know about you, friends, but I want people to feel what I'm seeing, what I'm feeling when I'm seeing. And color is a poetic medium. It's a emotionally charged medium, actually. Color does a lot of things to us, viscerally. And so it's quite powerful. I'm going to jump right up in the sky a little couple of sparkles. I've got these crazy pink cotton clouds going on. They're a little too pink, but that's okay. We're gonna layer some more. I'm soaking it in, I'm stepping back. I want a little bit darker something at the top of this painting. And I'm gonna come up there with a little ultramarine blue. Why? Well, I think it's gonna contrast against the turquoise nicely, maybe calm it down here and there, but it's also, ultramarine blue has what? Violet in it, it has red in it. It's on that violet side of blue, right? Whereas cobalt is kind of straight blue. And then turquoise is, or phthalo is greenish blue, right? So I want to get that relationship. Even up top, I still see some wonderful little pink sparkles punching through the sky, which I like very much. But this relationship between the colors creates its own experience of the sky, and I love that. Cloudscapes are all about just that upward gaze, right? That permission. For me, it's about like just reveling in the beauty of the sky above us, the formations of the clouds, the breathtaking nature of the light and color, interesting designs, right? So I'm just harmonizing that ultramarine blue. I'm kind of finding little spots. If I feel like I see the sky somewhat punch through the haze of the lower clouds, I might bring it in. That's great. I like that. I think I'll actually get a bit lighter ultramarine and do just a bit more. I don't know if this is light enough. Let's just test it. It's okay. We'll just use it up here for some of those misty moments. Now, the pink in the clouds, I'm going to layer over and bring more light on top of them, but I'm making sure that I kind of feel like these clouds are billowing upwards, billowing upwards. So what can we do about sort of telling the viewer, hey, there's all this beautiful light on the clouds? Well, I'm gonna use some of this peachy pink light tint. Yeah, let's try this peachy pink light. See how that goes. This is quite light, actually. Now I'll be careful about this. I'm not gonna use this everywhere because it's quite light in value. I do need to push a little more blue above this cloud. It's missing some. So just evaluate, where are the lightest lights in the scene? Where's the sun sort of striking these clouds and just opening up this beautiful, striking light pattern? You know, light is so breathtaking, and we paint the light, don't we? We paint the effect of the light on surfaces. And our day 3 lesson in Landscape Week is going to be all about capturing dramatic light, actually kind of very sunset light, and how you can really pull the light out of the darkness. That's a really powerful. See, I got a little too far there. I'm going to break that. Actually, I will say to you, as many know, I don't blend a lot, but when it comes to clouds, they do have some lovely broken edges. So sometimes I will let myself get carried away with some blending. Yeah, so that's going to be day 3. We capture that light and pull it out of the darkness. So fun. Color emphasis on day 2, mark making emphasis on the lesson 1. So really, really fun. Okay, as I squint at this, it's coming along. I like it, but I think I need just the slightest bit more contrast up top. So I'm going to look for maybe another blue. I'm wondering, this was the turquoise I used, and it's quite nice. I don't know if I don't want to go too dark on this painting, okay? This might be one step darker. Just that, yep, that's it. Just that slightest bit darker in value at the highest point of the sky. That's what I want to see. And then just coming under this cloud, well, just coming behind this cloud with a gorgeous, rich turquoise that can carve that edge out and really let this sing. I just broke a few edges with my finger. Now I'm carving it back out with the stick. Back and forth, layer upon layer, just a joy to build up that archaeology on the surface when you use pastel. Especially when we're using these durable sanded surfaces, they really can take a beating. Wow, that's nice. It's a little more muted, but the value's great. I can come in and just kiss it with the cobalt, just kiss it here and there with a bit more blue, and let that kind of sit. And the power of just letting the color dance on the surface is that your eye will mix them. Monet knew that. He knew that he could put a little broken piece of red next to a little broken piece of green, next to a little sparkle of, another, maybe a blue, and then you would read the color and interpret it and fuse them together. And there would be this wonderful vibration that occurs, which is great. Look at that. That's fantastic. I really like that. Maybe a little too jumpy right here. Let me just cover those. Yeah, that's pretty. I'd love to see the light kind of pushing through the middle horizon a little more now that I'm building that haze up. And you can see a lot of that underpainting there. I'm going to break this in a couple spots just to kind of create some softness. I like the idea that perhaps we have, a little bit of warm. I'm going to try this peach and pink, this warm, soupy, not too light, but a little hazy kind of color moving through the low horizon. I've got like almost a skin tone, right? It's a kind of taupey neutral, and I'm just using it to convey a little bit there. I'm going to push it back in with some lavenders in a moment, but I like the idea that it kind of creates a few layers. Maybe tie that back in up here. Cool that down a little more with my violets as well. So I go from blue-green and the turquoise family to blue-violet, the lavenders, the ultramarines, to pinks, maybe over to a lemony green at times. I love to move back and forth because I think the result of layering them is quite powerful. Don't you want to try this stuff out with me? I hope you do, and maybe you're giving this a try right now, which is wonderful. Landscape Week will give us a nice playground of opportunity to explore some fresh exercises together and really see what we can come up with when we let ourselves participate in the adventure. And isn't that what life's about? We only get one run at this thing, so let's participate in the adventure. Let's be courageous in our painting and really have fun. Yeah, just a little bit more on the low horizon. Okay, that's good. I'm going to clean my hands one more time before I put in sort of, it's a little busy down here, right? So different things that I do, like sometimes I'll just use my finger and quiet it. Sometimes I'll use like a piece of, this is pipe insulation. I'm actually going to give myself a paper towel so I can clean it if it gets mucky, but I'm just going to break a few edges here. There we go. Just kind of simplify. It got a little busy there. You know, I like the idea of that skin tone, but it's just maybe just 2 or 3% too much. And then that, you know how I said I want the land to sort of feel like I'm wisping by? I'm blurring it a touch here. And you can always go carve back in. You can always go back in and carve at it. But this painting is about freedom. It's about breaking free. It's about, you know, these clouds finding their expression, finding that movement upward. So I want to express that through the approach. I'm going to come right in and add some pale light again. Is this the same one? Yeah. I'm going to try out just a bit of white just to capture the feeling of the light up there. Just a little bit of cool, white just to kiss at the top of a few of these spots. Wow, that's powerful. I'm going to come back with a strong pink as well. Maybe we'll go just a couple times on that right side with some kind of white, just adding a bit of pink lower in the sky, that bit of sparkle. It's kind of almost like bringing the underpainting back over. Beautiful. I'm going to carve into that tree line a little with my violet. Just lower that section just a bit. Maybe we break. Sometimes we just want to break the shape a little. Just keep it from getting too sharp. Covered over a little dirty blurred line that I had left from the blending moment. All right, nice. Okay, I want to bring a little more light out of this. I'm going to play with a lemony greenish tint here just for a moment because it's a complement to this pink. It's not too strong of a color, it's a light, but I like the idea that it finds its way into the mix. So you'll notice I'm kind of chopping at the clouds just to leave the marks kind of crisp and let them sparkle on top with this beautiful soft pastel. I love that language, that vocabulary that's created as they layer one over the next. It's really quite powerful. I'm just stepping back and squinting my eyes, coming into this kind of field with just a little more light. Let that go off the side. That's good. Maybe it got a little low here. Let's break that. Maybe use my pinky to create some grass. I'm going to come into the foreground and just add a little more grass in a warm green over this. Maybe just break this. That's a light pale green, and this is a medium tint, and then the darker. So a nice little value transition. That looks good. I feel a nice whoosh. I have to say the sound of me driving by, right? Back to my turquoise. I'm coming in and just adding some fresh sparkle. And I'm thinking about a little bit more making an interesting contour because this feels perhaps a little straight. Come down into that middle area a bit further. And maybe we can come in with some glow. This is a peachy kind of red-orange tint, very much a sense of light on this color. And in between those lighter cools and the neutral underneath, maybe this warmth just captures some of the cloud. Breaking up. I keep saying that phrase, break free or break up. It's a way of staying anchored with the concept of this painting and sort of where it's going. I want to feel the energy of these clouds lifting. I think I can come in on this side with a little more. just open up a little volume on that. Okay, that orange is, it's really peach, right? A peachy glow. So I'm cooling down to a more neutral pink. Just breaking the edge here and there. Just letting it go. All right, we're getting closer here on our little, I would love to see almost just a hint of shadowy blue-violet, like just a hint, but without getting too dark. We go, like just let that lavender be the slightest bit darker. So perhaps it goes underneath over here. A little on the right to create some kind of horizontal cloud layers here and there. Break the edges slightly. That's good. Love that. Okay, I'm going to clean my fingers. And I'm going to stop right there for a moment. And my last turnaround is just going to be me kind of assessing and looking at those final dials of what can I do to just let this cloudscape, come to full expression. And of course, our paintings, they are ever evolving, and sometimes we don't know when we're done. We just don't know when we're finished with a piece. So that's why it can be really a great opportunity for us to leave a little on the table or leave a little in the painting sometimes, so we can come back later and just add that final 1 or 2%. But that's a thought for you. And of course, just the opportunity for you to check out landscapeweek.com so that you can come with me and we can work on those marks, the bold mark making. We're going to do some mark making exercises on our first lesson. Expressive color, we'll look at some of the ideas of how you can use color as an expressive tool on that second lesson and really bring some of these concepts to life. And then on the third lesson, we're going to let that light just break forth on a dark surface and harness some of our mark making discoveries and create something really expressive. Can you imagine you'll be sitting there looking at 3 small landscape paintings that you've done by the end of the week and some really exciting new techniques and adventures and experiences that you will have had. Of course, we'll have a small opportunity to join into a community where you can get inspired and share your work with one another as well in a private group, okay? Let's take a look at this painting. We'll see where we're at and how we can add those final marks. I like a lot of what's happening. I think I'm going to come and add just a bit of ultramarine here and there. Just harmonize with that. I'll come back with my turquoise. Nice lighter value turquoise and sort of cut through some spots. Actually want to try a much lighter. Well, that's too light. Let's try something in between. Like a couple little notes of that turquoise in the lower horizon. So it's there. It's a little lighter in value. Beautiful. What else? Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I just wanted to find, I had this wonderful pink that we used earlier. There it is. This is a nice soft pink. Just a really beautiful color. I think it's a Schminke. Definitely a Schminke pastel. Extra soft whenever we pick those Schminkes up. We get the beautiful, rich softness. Wonderful. Now, I am just looking at my trees and just whether I can just adjust this edge. Feels a little wide. That's better. I like that better. Just come in with a touch of blue, just a little bit of blue in the shadows. A little cool contrast against some of that warmer green. Very nice. The turquoise kind of hits this part a bit strong, so I'm just going to fade that. Bring a bit more of that strong turquoise higher. Okay, as I step back, the last little thing I might do is just add a bit, I don't know which is the right, just a bit more pink down here. Break this edge of the trees a little more here and there. Sometimes just a note of color here and there. You find a little zone that feels muddy to you, just a little note of color. Liven it up, can be just wonderful. That looks great. I'm gonna stop right there. Of course, there'll be little things I discover later, funny shapes, and you have probably found things in the clouds. Like, you know, we always find the elephant in the cloud, or the the funny shape, right? The running cheetah in the cloud, or the it's like being a child again, just looking up into the sky and saying, "Oh, I see an umbrella. I see a giraffe." Right? It's part of the beauty and the joy of these cloudscapes is to be playful and expressive and to revel in the beauty of the skies above. I hope you enjoyed this, and I do truly want to invite you one last time to come and join me during Landscape Week so that we can experience the adventure together on 3 unique live lessons and create 3 small paintings together so that we'll just get all charged up and loose and expressive and excited, and we'll just get unstuck together, and it'll be such a joy. Creativity is contagious, and joy and playfulness can be infectious if we allow it to be, which is a good thing, so we can kind of get a little courage from one another sometimes to try some things and to have some fun, and that's exactly what I want to encourage you to do. This has been so much fun. Thanks for joining me. It's truly a pleasure to come alongside you, share some pastel techniques, some loose painterly expressions with you, and that you can implement in your own creative journey. I just want to say this to you before we go, friend. Your art matters so much. It puts beauty out into the world, and it has an impact on the people who see your work and share your work. So keep showing up at the easel for your creative dreams. Take care, my friend.